There's so much noise around AI coding right now. Everyone's got their own system and everyone's pushing the latest tools. And if you're just trying to figure out how to build real software with AI, it's genuinely overwhelming. It's so easy to get lost in the latest tools and frameworks that we sometimes forget to take a step back and see the full picture. That's what this video is all about. We're going to walk through the entire software development lifecycle stage by stage. I'll show you exactly where AI fits into every single step, not just coding, but every part of the process. By the end of the video, you'll know how to build software with AI, like a senior engineer, even if you're just starting out. So let's get into it. So here are the 7 stages of software development that you're going to be using. It doesn't really matter what tools you're using or whether you're using AI or not. You're going to go through some kind of requirements phase where you think about what are you going to build and why. The design phase is where you think about the technical design. How should you implement the work? Then you do some kind of planning. You break the work down into a number of smaller tasks. You write the code, you review the code, you deploy that code into production, and then finally, you want to monitor your systems over time to ensure that they're healthy. This is the same workflow used at Google, Amazon, pretty much every software development company. So AI doesn't really change this workflow, but it does accelerate many parts of it, and it also increases the quality of the work we can do at every stage. AI is in every single stage of this process. So from the requirements where we're doing research to writing the PRDs, I use AI agents to write PRDs and help me prototype solutions so that when it comes to implementing the design, I'm very clear about what I need to build. When it comes to the architecture trade-offs as well, you can ask AI to help you with the decisions. You can ask it to help you write the documents. You can ask it to help you build diagrams, etc. When it comes to planning, again, I use AI agents to decompose work into tasks. Previously, this would have been done by a senior engineer or a tech lead. But what I found is that AI agents actually produce better task breakdowns than most people do because they give a lot of attention, they give a lot of detail in every single task. And this is really, really useful to know. Finally, we write the code. We use a Claude code or whatever agent we're using to implement the code. And then we do some kind of review loop. So when you generate code the first time with Claude Code, chances are there's a bunch of mistakes, there's a bunch of errors or bugs in there that you haven't noticed. So typically you want to do some kind of review stage, whether that's an LLM reviewing its own work or whether some other system externally that reviews the code. You always want to have some level of review. Then we deploy our code and then we obviously monitor it as well. So the key thing here is that AI is used at every single step: planning, designing, breaking things down, building, reviewing, and then finally shipping. You might be thinking this seems like a lot of process for developing software, and that would be true. You don't need to apply all of these steps every single time. What matters is that you understand the steps, because then you can make a decision about which ones apply to what you're doing. And that's very different from just skipping them because you don't know they exist. So if you're fixing a small bug, you don't need a PRD, you don't need a technical design doc, you just fix the bug. But if you're building something more complex, like adding authentication or redesigning your data model, building a new feature from scratch, then you probably want to spend a lot more time on the planning, the requirements, etc. But the thing that applies no matter what you're building, the clearer your instructions are to an AI model, the better the output you're going to get. Even for a bug fix, a well-framed prompt beats a vague description. So while you may skip some of these steps, the underlying principles still hold. Think about what you're doing carefully before you ask an agent to do it. So the first step of the process is the requirement stage, which is where we figure out what we're going to build. So this is, what are we building? Why are we building it? Who is it for? And then what's in scope and what's out of scope. As an example, on a recent freelance project, I spent 3 days doing research, planning, and design of the system before I did any coding. The project went really, really well because the time spent figuring out the requirements and really deeply understanding them led to much better solutions later on. One good thing about using AI in this stage is you can actually build lots of prototypes. You can use vibe coding to generate a quick prototype of your system because AI makes it quick and easy to do this now. So this is still planning. You're just trying to figure out what you're going to build. It's not uncommon for developers in large tech companies like Amazon or Google to spend a disproportionate amount of time on the actual technical design. For example, it may take a week to design a feature, and the reason is that you want to make sure that you've got the right requirements in place and you're building it the right way, because once you deploy your software to production, it's very difficult to change things. If you choose the wrong database, it's going to be very difficult for you to, make that change to switch to a different database if customers are already using that database. So the time you spend here is really, really valuable. AI can help you here a lot as well. You can use AI to help you come up with a technical design. This is largely what I think about as the spec. When we talk about spec-driven development, this is largely what I think about. This is telling the AI agent how to build the thing it needs to build. This is all of the technical detail about what libraries to use, what frameworks to use, what security considerations should be made, all of the technical details for the implementation, essentially. Then the next step is, now we know what we're building, we know why we're building it, we need to break the work down into smaller tasks. So you generally wouldn't just go to an AI agent and say, build me a payments application. You would want to break it down into smaller parts. There are many reasons for that. The first one is that the AI is just going to do a really terrible job. If you ask it to do so much code in one go, it's going to be focusing on so many different things, it's going to get a bit lost. So you want to break the work down into smaller parts so that you can test it and you can make sure it's correct at every single step. We would do the same thing if we were writing code by hand. So as an example, if we were building a feature, we might have 4 tasks. The first task might be to add email validation to the sign-up form. The second task might be to add the API endpoint. The third task might be to implement rate limiting for that endpoint. And then finally, we might write some tests. So each of these individual work items can be done by a separate agent. It's very easy to verify that the work is correct because the task is relatively small in scope. I've seen a lot of people manage these tasks in spec-driven development workflows using Markdown files. I don't think that's a very good idea. I tend to keep tasks in Linear or a task management system or some kind of project management system. Because if you think about it, you don't really want to be storing your tasks in Markdown files. Although you can hand those to an agent, it's very easy to get lost. There's no way to track status easily. You're better off using a traditional system like Linear to manage your tasks, and you can connect an MCP to Linear. It's very easy to delegate the task to an agent directly from Linear. And when you do that, you have a way of tracking what's in progress, what the status of each bit of work is. Imagine you're working on 100 different tasks. If you're using Markdown files to manage your task planning, it's going to be a complete mess. I would recommend using a proper task management system, even when you're using agents to write the code. Just a final thing on this, I actually use AI to break requirements down. So I used to write requirements by hand, and if you work in the software team, you'll find a senior engineer will typically decompose a bit of work into a number of smaller tasks. Now we can just use an AI agent to give it the spec and ask it to break down the work into tasks. This does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, and it saves us a ton of time. Often those tasks are very well described and very clear as well. All right, so when it comes to building, context is everything. So you don't want to say to an AI agent, build me an authentication feature, because the agent will have to guess about what you want. This is where we hand off the design or the spec to an agent. We want to make sure that the agent has all of the information it needs to succeed. And there are a couple of questions you can ask when it comes to this. So give it the background on what you're building. Make sure that the agent is clear about your technical design decisions. Have you specified the task clearly enough? Are there patterns or conventions to follow? And are there things to avoid? So are there any things that the agent should not do? If you follow that checklist and you give that information to an agent, it doesn't really matter what particular format or spec framework you're using. The AI agent has enough information to execute the task correctly. Perhaps the most important principle that I think about with AI coding agents in particular is that you should never accept the first pass. And the reason why, if you ask Claude Code to go and write some code, it's probably going to be working code. But then if you go and ask Claude Code to review the code a second time, it will probably find a bunch of errors, a bunch of mistakes, a bunch of things that could be improved essentially. And this is the same way with human developers as well. So when I write code, chances are the first thing I write is going to be working, but maybe not optimal. And I will go through multiple iterations to ensure the quality is high. And we want to do the same thing, even when we're using AI coding agents. Never blindly accept their first output, because the agent is focused on making things work. It's not necessarily focused on making it perfect. So you can build the code, then you can ask agents to self-review. You can do this with a sub-agent, or you could do it with some automated tooling. But the idea is to find errors in the code and then give that feedback to the LLM so that it can self-correct and self-review and self-improve. You could also do a human review as well. So this is obviously a fundamental thing. Once the AI agent has written some code, you can give feedback. And this is the cycle. So basically, you implement the task, you review the code and iterate on it until it's correct. Some common things you want to look out for are edge cases and error handling, security vulnerabilities, missing input validation, performance issues. What I tend to do is just ask the agent very simple questions, go and look at the code you just wrote and find any errors or potential issues in the code. Something like that, you don't need a very complex prompt, but 9 times out of 10, the agent will find a bunch of issues. When you do this, your code will drastically improve. Another way you can use AI in this step of the process, in the review step, is to build review steps into your CI/CD process. So on GitHub, when you open a pull request, you can have an AI agent automatically triggered that will review the code and then give feedback on the PR. There are many different open source tools, and I will cover these in a different video, but there are many different tools you can use to get code review that you can then give back to an agent to improve the code. So the key thing here is that never accept the first output, always iterate, always review the code, and always try and improve it. So after we've done all that, we can now push our code to production. This is the fun bit. This is why we write code in the first place. One thing I like to think about with deployment is that you can use AI to help you here as well. So I was recently deploying a system to Google Cloud, and I hadn't used it in a while. I was getting stuck at multiple different places. If you've ever used a cloud provider, you know how messy and how difficult they are. But you can use AI agents to help you debug. So for example, I was using an AI agent to use the Google Cloud CLI to help me diagnose permissions errors, to actually go and fix them as well. So you can use AI agents not only to write your code and to test your code and to plan your work, you can also use it to help you deploy your software as well. AI can also write Terraform code as a great example. It can run Git commands. It can do all kinds of things that can help you with the deployment process. Do the thinking and then move fast. So use AI agents for everything you do. You can apply them to design. AI agents can help you with diagrams, in writing, in technical design. It can help you with writing code. It can help you testing the code, and it can also help you with the deployment and even the operational side as well. Our job now is to figure out how to adopt AI in every single step of the process to raise the bar of quality and to help us go faster. So I hope that was a useful breakdown of the end-to-end workflow. I often find myself getting lost with all of these new tools and all of the different approaches that people are taking to build software with AI agents. And I think it helps to sometimes remind ourselves of the fundamentals that nothing has really changed in terms of the development process. The only thing that has changed is we're handing off more of the work to AI agents. We can move faster than we could before, and AI can help us in every single step of the process. Beyond that, nothing has fundamentally changed. So if you're feeling lost or confused, it's always useful to go back to basics. I hope you found the video useful. If you do have any questions or comments, if you disagree with anything, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.